Monday, September 24th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I'm a bit later today. I played a golf competition at another club today. It was like an open competition and I teed off at 8 a.m. It was a really beautiful day, but very chilly. So it was hard to, the ball wasn't flying as far as usual. The cold air changes the flight of the ball. But anyway, I'm back. I'm doing kind of an early market report, but it's an early US market report because we opened just about 15 minutes ago the regular session on the New York Stock Exchange at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So right now it's 2:45 p.m. in London, and interesting moves in the market this morning. So far today, I see that bond yields are starting to continue to move higher. And I also want to talk about this book here, The Tower of Basel today by Adam Libor. And this is basically about the Bank for International Settlements, or BIS. Some of you already know about this book. Some of you that are new to the channel haven't heard about it. And I think it's really paramount that you read about the BIS, and this is one of the best books for that. It just goes to show who's really in charge of the central banks. Yeah, there is someone in charge of the central banks, and it's the BIS. And the BIS also acts as the central bankers' bank. So before I go into that, though, let's look at the market. Even though I'm a bit later, we'll have a look. So spot gold back above 1200 right now, 1203. So that's up $4. The range overnight has been 1194 to 1204.37. So we're right near the highs here. Silver 1431, up 3. So kind of underperforming gold at the moment. The range has been 1418 to 1437. So it's been quite a fairly wide range in the precious metals overnight, I would say. The Dow is down about 58. So we are open now, but I'm looking at the futures here. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 0.25%, 26,668. The S&P down 6.5 points, 0.25% as well. And the NASDAQ 100 future is underperforming. It's down 0.5%, or down 40 points. Currency-wise, we're seeing the dollar get hit this morning. The pound is up 0.5%, or just over 0.5%, 131.55. Pound got hammered on Friday, so today it's rebounding a little bit. The euro looks very good. It's up 0.5% as well, 118.05. Dollar yen is unchanged, 112.55. And dollar is up about 0.2% against the yuan at 685.95. Wow, crude is really doing, this is something I hadn't noticed. Crude is very strong. We've got Brent above $80, up 2.24%. So I saw, I think, a story over the weekend that OPEC and the Russians are gonna ignore Trump and his demands for, so that could be why. WTI crude 72.04, so we're almost back to the key resistance around 74.75, I would say, and that's up 1.8%. Yeah, as I said earlier in the video, bond yields are creeping back up. US 10-year yield right now 309. Well, 308 right now. It has been up to 309, so that's up 2 basis points. The key level there is around 313. So bond market continue to drift lower. Need to keep an eye on this bond yield. It's very important. I see also that the UK yields have on, I think Thursday, they were creeping up quite a bit. I made a video about how the 10-year gilt yield had gone up as much in 1 month than it had in the last 12 months. And right now we're back up around 160. The 10-year yield is up 5 on the day, up 32 basis points on the month, and up only 24 on the year. The key level there, I would say, is 165. And why are these yields so important? Well, because they're the supposed risk-free rate of lending, because they're rates to governments that can print money and borrow, as much as they like, so to speak. And the whole credit market prices their interest rates off the government bond rates. And with our economies being based so much on credit and spending, it's really important to keep an eye on that. I've seen that there's been some comments from the ECB, from Mario Draghi. It says here on Zero Hedge, and I think that's why yields have gone up and the dollar's gone down. And it says bonds, dollar dump as Draghi warns a vigorous inflation pickup. So what does it say here exactly, this story? The dollar and bond prices snapped lower after ECB President Draghi, answering MEP questions in Brussels, warned of a relatively vigorous pickup in underlying inflation, sending euro and Bund yields spiking. Bund is the German government bond. It says Draghi sees ongoing broad-based economic expansion. Draghi pickup in wage growth will continue. Draghi restates ECB guidance on asset purchases and interest rates. Well, I mean, the thing, this is all like, in my opinion, rubbish. I think there's already been loads of inflation. The cost of living is going up. Their measurements, like in the US, are like bogus. So if there was a broad-based economic inflation and a pickup in wage growth, why are the ECB rates at 0? Why are they still doing QE, even though they are, reining down the amounts? And why are even some of their rates at negative? So it's just like a la la land. It's like a pretend. This is what the central bankers have turned into, storytellers, fictional storytellers. But it is affecting the markets this morning. What else? What else is there? Argentine peso plunges on record on reports of increased IMF credit line. Theresa May braces for snap election in November as Brexiteer mutiny erupts. That will be interesting. So now to the Tower of Basel. So what does what do some of the people say, on the back about the book? Adam Labor has written an absolutely fascinating history of the BIS, perhaps the most enigmatic financial institution in the world. That's Liaquat Ahmed, author of Lords of Finance, the bankers who broke the world. Harold James says, compelling reading and mastery depiction of the role of the BIS in the Nazi period and the Second World War. Edward Lucas, author of Deception, The Untold Story of East-West Espionage Today. Tower of Basel is essential reading, meticulously researched and fluently written. It reveals a slice of the modern world's untold history. I mean, for me, the most important part of this book and what to know about the BIS is that it's basically... The BIS is like a sovereign nation. It was created by international treaty in 1930, and it was created to try to settle, Bank for International Settlements, to settle all the war debt that Germany owed to the Allies after World War I. The reparations were humongous, and I think the Germans were paying it, until recently they're still paying it off. Of course, it wasn't worth much because it's been inflated away, a lot of that debt. So that's what the Bank for International Settlements was created. That was the raison d'etre, for this bank. But these globalists, they're always sneaky. They use, they kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. So yeah, it was just, why didn't they close this bank down once, World War One debts were settled? Of course they won't. So it's turned out to be basically a place where the Federal Reserve, Bank of England, ECB, Bank of Japan, Swiss National Bank, it's a place where they can do their dirty job manipulating the markets and have no, and be completely above, their domestic legal system. So the BIS will, how can I say, intervene in the markets, manipulate currencies, manipulate the precious metals, because they are currency, of course. They're the ultimate currency, the ultimate form of money. I mean, I didn't say that. JP Morgan said that. Gold is money, everything else is credit, right? So they use the BIS to do their dirty work and manipulate the currencies. And then they manipulate mainly the hard currencies, which are the dollar, the British pound, used to be the main national currencies of Europe, like the Deutschmark, French franc, Dutch guilder, but now it's just the euro, the Japanese yen, the Australian and New Zealand dollar to some extent. So these currencies stay quite under control, while the emerging markets, they don't get the special BIS club treatment. So that's how it works. What else about the BIS? Well, they portray themselves a lot as a regulator, as an innocent regulator. They've got something called the Financial Stability Board, which is supposed to regulate the too big to fail banks. Yeah, and they don't portray themselves as being active in the markets, but they are. They hide behind this cloak of regulator. You've heard of the Basel rules for banking. It comes from the BIS, but if really deep down, they are running the show. The central bankers meet there, the heads of the major central banks like Powell, Draghi, Carney, the Japanese guy, I forgot his name. They meet there every 2 months, 6 times a year. And they take they plan everything. They're like a cartel, like the OPEC, and they plan everything, when they meet there. And whenever they go there, they have a diplomatic, BIS diplomatic passport. So they're not stopped at airports. They can do anything they want. They don't have to, the BIS, they do report some of their, the stuff in their balance sheet and stuff, but they don't report any of that, the activities they do for the central banks. And even worse is that during World War II, when most people think, there was a existential, battle between the Allies and the Axis powers, between good and evil, the bankers for all these countries were working together in Basel. And the BIS was facilitating. They were taking in all the Nazi loot that the Germans picked up when they invaded countries like Belgium, Holland, Czechoslovakia, Poland. They took all their gold and basically laundered all the money for the Nazis while still working for the Bank of England. The Fed technically wasn't there, but there was a representative, JP Morgan, there. Bank of France. So all these people that were supposed to be at war with each other were banking together. And to me, that's the most outrageous thing. And it shows that the bankers, the central bankers, they don't care about the general public. They don't care. That's why they don't like nationalism, because they want to control every country, and they want to create havoc everywhere and, hedge themselves. And the BIS is the instrument for that. And that's why we need to, wherever you are, maybe contact some of your MPs or Congress people, congresswomen, congressmen, and tell them about this bank. Maybe in Australia, they're looking to do bank reform. They're looking to do their own Glass-Steagall. Maybe talk about the BIS, with the MPs in Canberra about this bank. Ask them if the RBA is a member. I'm sure they are, and how corrupt this bank is. After the war, World War II, when they met at Bretton Woods, actually the Norwegian delegation, they saw what happened during World War II. They said, we need to close this bank down. But guess who said, no, we need to keep it open? Well, it was Lord Keynes, John Maynard Keynes, who was the head of the British delegation. So there you have it, the BIS, the Tower of Basel. Highly recommend it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it far and wide, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Make sure you click on the little notification bell to be notified of my videos. I make at least one video a day. And you can also follow me on DTube, Steemit, Twitter, and BitTube. Take care. Goodbye.